let's start by charging the mound on a Jon Heyman story on Pete Alonso, and really it's about the New York Mets. And he just kind of makes the case for the Mets adding another bat. Okay, so there's the Twitter headline: Mets have logically and smartly improved depth and kept flexibility this winter. But here's my long shot plea for a late signing to aid Alonso and excite fans. And you can see the two headline photos with Alonso sandwiched in between. It's JD Martinez and it's Jorge Soler. He also mentions how there hasn't even been a hitter signing for over $50 million besides unicorn Shohei Ohtani. And of course, that should change with Bellinger and with Chapman. But part of the plea, Todd Father, is, hey, this could be the final season with him. Obviously, I think a lot of people want him to stay, including many within the Mets organization, but it would help to put him paired with a legit 40-plus homer threat in that lineup, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I talked about this yesterday a little bit. I think Soler would be the best fit. And I don't think you're going to have to break the bank to get a guy like this. He's been known for power. You can DH him. You can give somebody a break in the outfield if you need him. He's a guy that's going to come up there and help Pete Alonso out. And then my second thing would be sign Pete Alonso long term. I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for. This guy needs to be in Queens for the rest of his career, if not, the rest of his career. I mean, I don't see, he's fit for New York. He's fit for Queens. He's that guy across the street from Aaron Judge, another power hitter. When they play each other, it's like two big warriors going at it. So it makes for fun times in the Boogie Downer in Queens when they play. So Soler first, then sign Pete long term.
Why Soler? Why Soler, not JD Martinez? JD Martinez has a pretty good track record of being pretty good over a long period of time. Listen, Jorge Soler is a great player. He'll hit you 40 probably, but he'll also strike out a ton. JD's a little bit of a better hitter. Either one of these guys makes sense. They just need another bat, period, in this lineup and someone to protect Pete. And yes, I agree with Todd. Sign a DH, but you have to sign Pete Alonso. You've already locked up Lindor. Alonso loves the orange and blue. He needs to be a Met for life. You need to sign him up. Steve Cohen, you got the dollars. Let's go. Sign him up. And then when you're done with him, you can probably sign Alvarez up, the catcher, up for a little bit cheaper than what you're going to get Pete Alonso at. But they got some things they need to do. I like what the Mets have done. They haven't committed as much money as they have in the past to guys, but they're still short if they're going to think about winning the NL East.
AJ, let me ask you this. Do you think they give Alvarez one more year to see if he can be that catcher that they've always wanted, or you say sign him now? Like you're like gung-ho about signing him now.
I think you should sign him now. Catchers don't come along that often, and he proved it last year. I mean, he had a great year for him last year. Not only offensively, but the guys love throwing to him defensively. They love him back there. So, and he played a lot. So I think he's a guy that you could lock up. I mean, I think he's young enough. He's valuable enough. His bat plays. He hits home runs. I mean, even if you sign him, I don't know. I'm going to throw random numbers out. A $50 million deal. I mean, that's not going to kill your franchise, right? No. For the next 6 years, $50 million. It's not killing your franchise. So I think it's a no-brainer, but they haven't done it yet, and I don't know why.
Do they want to see more behind the plate from him? Because my counter to that would be the bat's going to play regardless, and you do have the DH spot.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, I was just curious his thoughts. I wasn't trying to be like, yo, we shouldn't sign him. I just wanted to hear what he had to say about that because I've never thought about that yet, and it could be an interesting play as well for the Mets for sure.
I mean, he's a good player. His defensive ranks were good last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they love throwing to him. It wasn't like he was. I mean, he only hit 209, but he did hit 25 homers last year. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that wasn't a full season of ABs.
It wasn't a full season. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Well, I mean, 400. He played 123 games. It's interesting though. He hit 25 homers. His OPS plus was 95. Why? Because he doesn't walk a lot, right? Walks are overrated. But defensively, I mean.
Yeah, he's getting better. He's young. He's a young prospect.
Caught stealing, 13%, not awful. Defensive runs saved, 7. I don't know. I mean, he's, I don't know. Some of these metrics for catchers don't make a lot of sense to me, but I don't know enough about how they quantify him, like the framing stuff and all that. But listen, I think he's a guy that's going to get better. He cares. I know that. And every pitcher you hear talk about the Mets, man, I love throwing to Francisco Alvarez. Let's get him back there more. And he played 120 plus games last year. So he's durable. I mean, let's sign him up. I mean, again, if you sign him to a 6-year, $50 million, that's not killing the Mets franchise. And he'll probably, I mean, it might be a little more, but he'll still, it's a guy you can slot in every day behind the plate for 100+ games.
I didn't know he played that many games. That's why that was the reason why 120. I didn't think he played that many games, but he did. That's good for him, man. Yeah, he's a good little ball player, dude. He's a very good ball player.
If the Mets do end up somehow coming out of the blue and signing Soler or JD, could they sneak into the playoffs?
I think so. I think I think they need what I think is pitching. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that they're going to have to stay with. I mean, besides, you think Kodai Senga, Severino, Sean Manaea. I mean, yeah, they're okay, but over a long haul, they might need another arm or two for sure.
They're short pitching for me.
Yeah.
They need another starter for sure. I mean, Sengo is good. I mean, after that,
you don't know what you're going to get.
I mean, Severino, I mean, if he's, 2019, Luis Severino?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big ask, right?
He's the key to their season, right, AJ? I mean, if he ends up, his scale is so vast, right? He could be a 2 and have a career year because he's still young enough. He's like 29. Or he could be like last year and those numbers don't belong in a rotation.
Okay, so let me ask you, we're talking about the Mets getting in the postseason, okay? They're in a division with the Phillies and the Braves. They're not better than either one of those teams, right?
Not even
the
close.
The Dodgers are not better, right? And then there's one team from the Central that's getting in. So there's 4 spots already taken. That means there's 2 left, okay?
Yep.
Probably another West team, whether it's Diamondbacks, Padres, whoever you want to look at. Giants, maybe.
Diamondbacks, I think, for sure.
Okay, so there's 5. That means that leaves you 1 spot. The Marlins got in last year.
They're not getting back.
Okay, Brewers, Cardinals, Reds. Brewers, Reds, Cardinals, Cubs in the Central.
Yeah.
One of those teams sneak in.
It's going to be tough.
It's listen, could the Mets, if everything goes perfectly, no one gets hurt and this and that, I mean, like I always say, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. But
damn.
Not true.
Do you always say that?
I say my wife gets mad at me, but that's fine.
Just so happens we have her on the show. Come on down. No.
Well, all right. I like that, though. I think if the Mets go for another bat like that, their offense could be good. I mean, there's Pete, another year of Alvarez, Lindor, solid as can be. You start going around the diamond. I mean, Nemo's an above-average offensive player. Does Marte give them anything this year? Does Bader bounce back a little bit on offense? I mean, you start going around the diamond. Some of the young guys, obviously, like a Vientos, Beatty, can they be above average bats?
Well, they're going to be battling for third base this year, both of those guys. So we don't know who's going to be third baseman. I know those. You might have an inside track, Mr. Scotty.
I do.
But yeah,
Beatty.
And also, do they have any young studs that can come up and come in and be major league pitchers too as well? That's something else that we haven't talked about. I don't know. I don't know personally. I didn't dive into the minor league ranks there, but I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping they have some kid that's a month or 2 away from getting up there and be like, all right, here we go, young man. Here's a ball. Go get him. So they have hopefully they have options, but if not, you sign a guy like Soler or Martinez, you might as well go for the whole kit and caboodle. Go ahead and get a pitcher too as well after that.
Diaz back too. That's big.
Oof.
That gets you a few extra wins.
Yes,
seriously.
True, and they brought Ottavino back. He's a good 8th inning, 7th, 8th inning guy. I mean, there's pieces there, but again, who's going to play third base? There's can McNeil bounce back? He didn't have a great year last year. Marte, he's kind of like, what's he got left? Right?
And you got that Luis Angel Acuna.
Luis Angel Acuna, Ronald's brother, he's fast as shit.
And he's supposed to be a stud too. So what happens if he's clicking at the heels of everybody else? Are they going to move him to third? Because he's not going to. Is he going to go to second? Put McNeil in the outfield. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting. I would say it's very interesting what New York has right now, meaning the Mets. Off season's not over, so we'll see what they have up their sleeve.
It's a team I'm probably going to put money down on. I got to see. I haven't checked lately, but for their win total, because they're going to win more games in my mind than last year. And on paper, you would be like, huh? But I do think they're going to win more games. They have better young talent. Just like you mentioned, those 2 trades alone, The Rangers trade with Scherzer, the Astros trade with Verlander. Those trades
Yeah.
will impact the team this year. And the reason why I actually, to sum this up, don't think they're going to sign either of those players is because I do think they're going to give Vientos a shot to get some serious time, and that would be at the DH spot for
Yeah,
the most part.
Who's the
go
guy
ahead.
who got hurt in Winter Ball? Mauricio?
Yeah,
Ronnie, I was gonna bring him up too. That was a guy that they were
really
looking at
good
big
player
time
too.
too.
There's some good young talent there. It's mostly position players, so they do need pitching. But next offseason, they're going to buy like 2 or 3 starters.
What about a Cody Bellinger center field every day?
Well,
No?
they got Nimmo and Bader, I guess now, to wherever they want to put them. But I know what you're saying, 100%.
I would see that.
Take him in a heartbeat.
I do actually agree with AJ that if they're going to spend any more money this offseason, I would get another starter. I mean, there's not that many big names left, but why not a Ryu? He's still available on the market. Someone like that to kind of give you a little bit more depth and security there. And I do think if they do that, they have a shot. They have a shot at maybe the 5th or 6th spot, like one of those last couple wild card positions.